Okay, so now we know the intro to our story. We've met our first giant, the giant of fear. Let's take a look at our story here to see how we can take this. So we talked about David's brothers just always giving him a hard time. He's got this older brother, Eliab, his oldest brother. He hears David asking all these questions, and he basically calls him out. He's like, dude, what are you doing here? Why did you leave your sheep? So David tended sheep, so he's taking a shot at him personally. He's just basically saying, you're a little boy, you're a little sheep herder. Like, what are you doing here? This is men's territory. This is where the men are playing. Run along, little boy. And, why did you leave those few sheep? Not even like, he started like, that happens to us all the time. Like, how often do you feel like people like making fun of your little bankroll or making fun of like how little you have to start or how little you know? Like, we get ridiculed all the time. And this is no different for David. David went on to be a champion, and he's not immune to the same stuff that we're facing every single day. And, did you leave him in the wilderness? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You only came down to watch the battle. Basically, he's calling, David an arrogant little turd who just basically came to laugh at everybody that was in battle, and he's not really getting into the fight. And, I always feel like that's what I love so much about DFS is like, if you have an opinion, put your money on it, put your name on it. Like, you think this team's going to do well? Okay, here's an opportunity to prove to us how right you are. And, his brother's just basically calling David out, and David doesn't, he's like, where is this coming from? So he just took a pot shot from his brother, and we just arrived on the scene trying to figure out what's going on, trying to get a report for dad, and just basically gets punched in the mouth with a verbal assault from his brother. So then he runs into King Saul. Saul's the king at this time, and David continues to ask more questions, and Saul's like, who is this guy? Who's this little guy? And he basically said, you can't go out and fight this giant. You're only a young man, and he's a warrior from his youth. So, we've got his brother making fun of him and his king second-guessing him and telling him that he can't do it. So it's like we see this all the time with DFS. He's criticized by his own brother. Saul says he's unqualified. Does that sound like anything else that we're running into DFS? That's pretty much everything that we hear. Like, part of the reason I started my channel is I want to be a positive influence on the industry that is just filled with like jealousy and negativity. And, I've been playing some form of fantasy sports since I was 9 years old. I'm 35 now. It's almost 25 years I'm playing this game. And all of my life, I've been, for the most part, people like that know me are like, dude, like, you're wasting your time. That's just a hobby. What are you doing? So it's like, I hear it. I'm sure you guys hear it. And that's what we need to do here. Like, if you're tired of getting criticized by other people, like, we need to turn you into a winning player to show them, hey, I'm not just wasting my time. I just remember, like, people would be like, you spent how much on fantasy? And it's like, yeah, I don't know, a couple $1,000s, but I might be able to win lots of thousands of dollars. And this is coming from like a dude that just bought a jet ski that is like going to break in a few years, like 4 times as much as I spend on fantasy, and is taking shots at me, and it's like, am I taking crazy pills here? So like, get used to people not understanding, but we need to become a force that makes them understand. And we hear this all the time with the game isn't beatable anymore. You can't do it. It's too tough. You need a big bankroll. You don't know what you're doing. Who do you think you are? I hear criticism all the time, even now as a winning player. Who does this guy think he is? My favorite is this guy. Watch one of my videos and he's like, this guy is really unlikable. Thank you. I know I'm not liked by every people. That's fine. I don't like all people. So, it is what it is. This guy can't win as he moves up. It's like, maybe I can't, but I'm betting on myself and we're going to find out. So, as we do this, you're going to take criticism. Just get used to it. We got to be like ducks. Just let it go like water down our back. So let's take a look and see how David responds. So after his... So some of these titles, I'm just trying to have fun. David's not trying to hear any of this bull crap. So his brother like claps at him, and David's like, "What have I done now?" He doesn't. You can't. Can I even speak up for myself? He's like, you're turning everybody else in a way. Give me a chance to speak up for myself. And he's basically telling his brother, like, dude, like, leave me alone. Like, I don't see you asking any questions. So it's so easy for people on the sidelines to criticize us for having the what to put on the table and put ourselves out there. It's very easy to take criticism by people that aren't actually hopping into the battle. So that's where, David's brother is coming from, a place of jealousy, a place of resentment. And David's like, I'm not even trying to hear any of this. And then he says to Saul, he's like, dude, don't even worry about this big guy. Like, He's like, I'm not sweating this guy. You guys can sweat him, but I'm not going to sweat him. That he says, your servant will go and fight him. Do not lose heart on account of this guy. David knows where his confidence is coming from. David is looking at this thing properly. These guys are seeing the giant. They're seeing fear. They're seeing criticism and bad advice. And David's like, I'm not trying to hear any of that, fam. I got a plan. I'm going after these guys. So we'll continue with our journey here. So I mentioned that David's feeling confident. So where's David's confidence from? He talks to Saul. He's like, hey, the reason I know I can take this dude out is because I'm battle tested. I'm battle ready. I got to protect my sheep. One of my all-time favorite quotes is from the Moving Training Day. And, Denzel is talking to Ethan Hawke, and he's like, hey, you know what? To protect the sheep, you got to catch the wolf. And it takes a wolf to catch a wolf. Like, there are so many wolves in sheep's clothing in DFS. Like, that's why I stepped up to be a voice. There's a silent majority of us that are playing every single day that is getting mistreated by the DFS community. We're being taken advantage of. We have touts stealing our money, and I'm tired of it. So I'm going to be that wolf. There are other wolves out there, and I'm uniting all the wolves. And David knows what it takes to protect the sheep. And he's talking about how a lion and a bear attacked his flock. And he says, I went after it. I struck it. I rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine, he's like basically saying, like, this piece of trash, Goliath, he's going to be like them. I'm coming after him because he's not only taunting me and our armies and our kinsmen, he's taunting my God, my Lord. So he's like, I'm not sweating on this guy. This guy should be sweating me as a force of nature because I've got God on my behalf. So David's not hearing fear. He's not hearing criticism. He's not hearing bad advice. Like, he is focused. He is confident. He is ready to go out and strike. He's ready for battle because his head's in the right place. He's not letting all this negativity get to him. And we very much have to be the same way. Like, we have to be very centered. We have to be very grounded. We have to know where, our foundation lies, whether that's in, our God or our faith or our family or our friends, and even in our DFS results. So with that in mind, this is what we can deduct from overcoming fear, criticism, and bad advice. Others are fearful. David is confident. Warren Buffett says all the time, when other people are scared of entering the market, that's when you should be buying. When other people are excited about being in the market, that's when you should be selling. Same thing with DFS. When other people are like, oh man, like, I don't want to play this pitcher. I don't want to play this team. It's like, I know who I'm playing today. You don't need to say anything more. Like, DFS is really that simple. Go where no one else is going to go. Play this game fearlessly. Be confident and just know what your sample size says. That's why we did, over an hour on sample size a few weeks ago. Everyone saw the giant. David saw the power of his God. So David is going into this with the right mindset. We talked about this in the previous section. Everyone saw fear. David saw opportunity. And that's what we're really looking at here is, what can we, we're taking on the stress of this and the headache, and it's going to be challenging, but what reward awaits us at the end? Like, if we're created to play this game, let's play it in such a way that can be honoring and glorify the people in our lives, glorify our Creator. When David's brother clapped, David clapped back. Hey man, I'm not trying to hear this. And then he focused on the prize. Saul said David was unqualified. David told Saul about his past victories, told Saul about his God. So there's a lot of carryover here. Even if you're not a believer, I'm not trying to convert anybody to God. I'm trying to tell this story. I'm trying to relate to what David did, what we can learn from it. And I just, like, whenever I'm getting discouraged, like, I go immediately to this story because it's like, like, throwing pity parties is like the most fun party to throw when things aren't going well. In DFS, except nobody else wants to come. Like, you can invite other people to their pity party and they may love you, they may support you, they may encourage you, but they really don't want to attend your pity party. So we really have to encourage ourselves. And this is one of the ways that I encourage myself. I go back and I read this story and I just see his confidence and how he attacked his problem. And then I start thinking, you know what? Like, I have been through some bad stuff, man. I've overcome some stuff. Like, dude, I'm going to be good. Like, I'm ready to, I got punched in the face. I'm on the mat. You know what? I'm fired back up. Like, I'm back off on the mat and I'm pissed that I got punched in the face and I'm coming after everybody. And that's the type of confidence that David had. That's the type of confidence that we need. So we'll go ahead and wrap up section 2 here, guys. I'm super fired up. I got my cold brew here. Like, we are going deep. I'm so excited for you guys to be here, and let's keep this thing going.